Hey Sparkies, it's Miss Hannah. I couldn't go to the church to do this, so we are at my house on the porch. So if you hear my kid, that's why. But we're here this week. You guys have been talking about Jacob and Esau for the last, I think, 2 weeks. And this week, we're still talking about Jacob. Not so much about Esau this week, but we're still going to be talking about the same characters from the last couple weeks. So, Jacob this week. So today, we'll learn more about only Jacob. Do you remember when we left off with his biography the last couple weeks? Last time we talked about Jacob, we learned that Jacob had a dream. After this dream, he went to his uncle Laban's home and stayed with him for many years, working in his field and with his animals. Then he made his way back home and saw his brother Esau. When Jacob left home, Esau was really angry at him. But when Jacob went back home after being gone for 20 years, so he was gone for 20 years, Jacob, when he left, Esau was really, oh, sorry, there's a wasp. This is what you get when you do a lesson outside on the porch. But Esau was really angry at him when he left, but when he returned 20 years later, Esau wasn't angry anymore and was happy to see him. But what happened while Jacob stayed with his uncle Laban? So we haven't talked about that. What did he do? Whom did he spend his time with? That's what we'll learn about tonight. Jacob was angry. Jacob was really angry. Jacob had every right to be angry at his uncle Laban. Laban deceived him. Do you know what deceived means? So when someone is deceived, it means that they have been lied to, fooled or tricked, stuff like that. Laban deceived Jacob, so his uncle deceived him. That means that Laban lied to Jacob and tricked him. You see, when Jacob first got to Laban's home, he met a girl named Rachel. Jacob liked Rachel a lot. Laban told Jacob that if he stayed to work for him, Laban would pay him. Laban said Jacob could name whatever he wanted as payment for his work, and Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, so that's what he asked for. So back in those days, men often worked, sometimes many, many years, to marry the girl that they loved. They would work for the father to gain that right. Jacob loved Rachel, and to make sure that he got to marry her, he told Laban that he would work for him for 7 years. Now, 7 years is a long time. Is any of you guys 7 years old or close to 7 years old? So he worked for Laban for almost as old as some of you guys are to gain the right to marry Rachel. And that's a really long time. It would probably feel like a really long time, but it says Jacob loved Rachel so much that it didn't seem like 7 years. The Bible tells us that it felt like just a few days to Jacob because that's what he really loved Rachel. So at the end of the 7 years, Jacob told Laban that it was time to have a wedding. Jacob had kept his promise and worked 7 years. Now it was time for Laban to keep his promise and let Jacob marry Rachel. So Laban prepared a huge party, a feast that lasted many days. They had longer weddings than we do now. But at the end of the feast, Jacob got married, but Laban tricked Jacob. Without telling Jacob, Laban had him marry Leah, Rachel's older sister. Sorry. But women usually wore lots of veils and were completely covered when they got married, so you couldn't really see their faces. It was just their tradition then. So it was easy for Laban to trick Jacob. Jacob couldn't see the face of the woman he was marrying, so he just assumed that he was being truthful and honest with him. So, do you think Jacob was angry? He told Laban that he worked hard and kept his promise to work for 7 years. Laban should have kept his promise too. I wonder if Jacob learned a lesson. Many years before, he had tricked his brother Esau and his father into giving him the family blessing and birthright. Jacob deceived them, and now he had been deceived. Remind me, what does deceived mean? Do you guys remember? That it means to be lied to or tricked. So Jacob had hurt people in his family. Now someone in his family hurt him. The Bible doesn't specifically say that Jacob learned his lesson after Jacob deceived him, but it does tell us that Jacob continued to work for Laban for many more years. One day, Jacob went to Laban and said that he wanted to take his family back to his homeland. Laban said they could go, but then he came after them and intended to stop them. Esau was also coming to meet him with many men. Remember Jacob's dream, the one with the ladder going up to heaven and the angels everywhere. In this dream, God promised that Jacob would return home. He also promised Jacob that he would not be harmed and would be physically safe. So even though Jacob was deceived by Laban and had deceived Esau, he was not harmed. He was safe, just as God had promised. So, Jacob, there's a lot in the Bible with Jacob. I like reading about the story. I enjoy reading about and learning more about a lot of the older characters in the Bible, and Jacob's very interesting to me. But if you guys have ever been deceived by somebody, like tricked or fooled, has anybody ever fooled you into thinking something different, or they tricked you, even if it was just lighthearted? Sometimes it's just like, why, But has someone lied to you or tricked you? Maybe someone at school said she would invite you to her birthday party, but then she laughed and said she was only teasing. Maybe your brother told you that he would teach you to throw a football if you gave him some of your candy, but after he ate the candy, he changed his mind. It hurts to be deceived. We can't always stop people from deceiving us, but we can control how we react to them. Jacob didn't hit Laban, or he didn't yell at him. He kept working for him to gain the right to marry Rachel. Instead of calling the girl a name or sticking your tongue out at her, pray for her. Instead of hitting your brother and yelling at him about how he cheated you, ask someone else to teach you to throw a football, and don't try to get even with them. Getting back at people doesn't make things better. So, just some lessons about, there's lots of lessons in the Bible, and this is just a really good one. It's just how we should be. Sometimes people aren't very nice. Sometimes people do terrible things, and they don't make you feel very good, but the way we react to them is the biggest part there. I mean, if we react towards them with love and compassion like Jesus would, that makes a huge difference, instead of, not being nice back, which it doesn't necessarily make it better. And sometimes it makes you feel worse. But, so this week I have a little bit of something for you guys to do at home. You don't have to do it. It's only if you want to. But, it kind of goes along with our lesson. But, draw a picture of yourself helping someone else do something. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be, opening a door for somebody. It could be walking somebody across the street. It could be anything. Anything that, even if it's like helping your brother or your sister with something, or helping your mom and dad with something, or just nobody that you know, just helping somebody. Just draw a picture of you helping somebody do something. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's something that's on your heart, that makes you feel like, something like you would want to do, or something that, or even something you have done before. That would be great too. And if your parents are able to, and they want to, and you guys want to do it, you can post them onto the messenger for the Sparks on Facebook if they can, if your parents can. But that'd be lots of fun, and we can kind of see and kind of, let everybody see the nice things we could do for each other right now. I know nobody's really allowed to be around each other, and nobody's allowed to get together, and I really miss seeing all you guys in person. Like, it's just, for me, it's weird to do this as a recording. It's just so weird. I'd rather see your adorable little faces, but we can't do that right now, and so let's just make it a little bit of a happier week this week, and just see what nice things we could do for people. And if you have someone in your household that you could do something nice for, try it. It might be fun. You might really get some, it might make you feel real good. But that's just the fun thing for you guys to do this week. I also have a family follow-up, which is just something you can do with your family this week. I will post a picture of it in the comments when Miss Jamie posts this for you. It's not required. You do not have to do it, but it would be fun, and you guys are already home. So, but I'll go ahead and read it to you, so if you don't see the picture, you at least get to know what it is. But it says, give your child some examples. So this is like the parent. So if your mom and dad are watching, or one of your family members are watching that's doing this with you, it says, give your child some examples of situations where they are deceived and talk through what their response should be. Some situations are someone steals a toy out of her Awana bag while she's at club, or a classmate cuts in front of him in line at school. Think of some other situations you know your child has experienced. Remember the time that so-and-so did such and such. How did you react? How should you react? Obviously, there will be circumstances that demand involvement on the part of a parent or teacher. Instilling the knowledge of when to go to an adult is important. So that's the family follow-up for this week. I will post a picture of it when Miss Jamie posts it tonight. And I miss all you guys, and I am praying for all you guys, and I'm praying that we can all see each other in person at church again soon for Awana at church. I know that it's kind of weird to do this online, and I miss seeing your faces, and I will try to do this again next week. God bless, and you guys take care of yourselves and be good for your parents, and have a good night. See you later.